Thank you, Chairman Slater, members of the House Finance Committee. As you know, this year the United States will commemorate the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Rhode Island had a pivotal role in the founding of our country as one of the original 13 colonies. Just briefly, our signer, Stephen Hopkins, was talking about no taxation without representation in 1765 before Thomas Paine wrote a thing about it. We have his correspondence at the State Archives. Nathaniel Greene is the hero of the Southern Campaign. He was George Washington's right-hand man. We have his military commission at the State Archives. The 1st Rhode Island Regiment, the first integrated regiment in the history of the United States. Black soldiers, indigenous soldiers fought with distinction alongside white soldiers throughout the entirety of the American Revolution, including at the conclusive Battle of Yorktown, where they took Redoubt Number 10 without ammunition. We're very proud of the 1st Rhode Island Regiment as the first integrated regiment and that they played such a significant role. We have their muster sheet or their list of enlistments at the Rhode Island State Archives. The State Archives has 3 original copies of the Declaration of Independence, treasures that belong to us, Rhode Islanders, collectively, but are held in a vault in a commercial building on Broad Street, inaccessible unless you make an appointment to see it during regular business hours. And then that's an ordeal. 2 people have to remove it. It has to go into a specific location. And then the person who's observing that and looking at it has someone over their shoulder, making sure that they are not damaging the Declaration of Independence. The Rhode Island State History Center will be a hub for historic education and civic engagement, where we display treasures that tell Rhode Island's story from our founding years through today. I'd like to thank Governor McKee for including a general obligation bond question in this year's budget that provides $45 million to construct the Rhode Island History Center. I'd also like to thank this committee for your allocation of the Rhode Island capital funds in FY 2025. Those resources have been used to put forward the proposal you're hearing today. That's affordable, feasible, and will provide significant educational and economic benefits to the state and our residents. A comprehensive site study affirmed a site has been our preferred site, which is the lawn in front of the Department of Administration on Smith Street. But the revised Rhode Island History Center plan significantly reduces the size of the building and the project cost, while retaining the most essential elements, public functions of earlier proposals. An exhibit gallery for permanent display of Rhode Island's treasures, like the Royal Charter of 1663, the foundation for religious freedom in the United States of America. The Rhode Island Act of Renunciation, May 1776, 2 months before the nation declared its independence, Rhode Island did from King George III. Documents from the HMS Gaspee incident, which was the spark that ignited the American Revolution. Copies of our Declaration of Independence, including the Goddard copy, one of 9 in the world. It is unique in that it has a handwritten note from John Hancock that says a true copy with his signature. When the great documentarian Ken Burns was here, we showed him the Goddard copy. He was in awe. He had never seen one before. As I said, 9 in the world. An original copy of the Bill of Rights. There were only 14. There are only 12 left. We have one of them. Ours is in better condition than the national copy, which I just saw last week at the National Archives. The Bill of Rights had 12 amendments in this version, not 10. The Battle of Rhode Island map of 1778. State boundary records, Council for War records. Today, as we speak, in Virginia at Fort Belvoir, the United States Army Museum, the 1st Rhode Island Regiment flag is being displayed. It is one of the primary exhibits in their 250 collection, which tens of thousands of Americans will see in this semi-quincentennial year. That's our flag. It will return to us, but it won't return to Rhode Island. It will return to Massachusetts, where it is stored. It should be seen and displayed so that Rhode Islanders and people from around the world and around the country can see that flag that represents freedom at 2 levels. Freedom that was fought for in the American Revolution and the freedom of those former slaves who were part of that, that unique and historical regiment. Additional exhibit space for rotating exhibits, both from the State Archives' own collection or to accept loaned items from other institutions. A subdividable multi-purpose room will serve as a hub of civic education and engagement for the department, other state agencies, or outside groups to host a variety of events, functions, and educational programs. The State History Center would also offer the opportunity to relocate the Charter Museum here, the gift shop, which is here, as well as the second floor Secretary of State suite, which would make space available in the State House for other purposes. And I know that space in this building is at a premium. This would provide more space. The second floor of this 24,600 square foot building includes a limited space for collection storage with state-of-the-art storage conditions and security to protect the most valuable documents and objects currently being held at the State Archives. One of those objects is the box that the Gaspee inquiry came in from King George III, where he demanded an investigation of that incident, and where Rhode Islanders kept their mouth shut, and so they could not conclude who was involved. The State History Center will be a complement to the State House Tour program. In 2025, 12,466 people took a docent-led tour of the Rhode Island State House, including nearly 8,000 students. I meet a lot of these people who are from all over the country and all over the world who tell us how remarkable this building is. This would be a great gateway to a Rhode Island History Center where they could see even more remarkable artifacts. So we want students and visitors to be able to visit both the State House and this center. And I'm one of those people that travels the country and goes to these places. All states have this. We do not. All states have a purpose-built archives building. We do not. All states have a connection, or most states have a connection between their State House and the History Center. We do not. And we have a much more rich history than many, many of those states I'm talking about. I mean, what is Kansas talking about in the semi-quincentennial? What can they possibly be promoting? The State History Center will allow us to make these documents accessible to students and visitors and keep them safe for generations to come. The multipurpose space can host education and cultural programming, as I mentioned, organized by the Department of State or others. We are certain that the new History Center will cement Rhode Island's superiority as a cultural tourism destination, enticing new cultural tourists and encouraging those who are already here to stay longer and learn more. Cultural heritage tourism has proven to be an important economic factor, but it is not the only economic factor that our state would benefit from. As an analysis conducted by the Associated General Contractors of America estimates that the construction alone will result in over $74 million in total state spending at Rhode Island businesses and will support 428 full-time and part-time jobs during the 2+ years of construction. As a former member of this committee, I know that when I saw your agenda and saw the items on your agenda that you had a long night ahead of you. So my team and I encourage supporters who have been here before to testify on this particular proposal to write letters instead. I'm going to mention a few of them so that you know who would have been here to testify. You have letters from them, and it'll expedite the evening. Michael Sabatoni, Secretary-Treasurer of the Laborers International Union of North America. Pat Crowley, President, AFL-CIO. Dan Bianco, Vice President, New England Regional Manager, LIUNA. Greg Mancini, Build RI. Archives Working Group member, Darrell Waldron, Rhode Island Indian Council. Alvin Reyes, IBEW, Building and Construction Trades Council. Bradley Vanderstad, Providence Tourism. The Rhode Island 250 Commission is in support of this project. Colonel Ron Barnes would have been here from the Patuxent Rangers to give his support. In addition, James Toomey from the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council, Elizabeth Francis from the Rhode Island Humanities, Greg Bowman, Dean, Roger Williams University Law School, and the League of Women Voters. I'll conclude by asking this committee for its support of General Obligation Bond Question 6, which will provide $45 million to build the State History Center in your budget this year, as well as the $5 million in the bond question for the State Preservation Bond Program. In 1976, when the state and the country commemorated its bicentennial, the state of Rhode Island invested in a legacy project so that we could remember the veterans who fought on behalf of Rhode Island throughout our nation's history. And the Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Exeter was commenced and built as that legacy project connected with the bicentennial. This would be a perfect way to protect the legacy of Rhode Island history in this year, the semi-quincentennial. The state has a unique opportunity here to do that and to preserve and protect our powerful legacy. I thank you, the members of the committee, and the chair. And if you have any questions, I have Leanne Byrne to my right, who's our chief of staff, and Ashley Salima, the best archivist in the country.